What I'm about to say, I wish someone told me 11 years ago when I started freelancing. It would have helped me avoid so many mistakes, and I would have made so much more money in the meantime. It took me 9 years to reach 100,000 euros per year from my freelancing business, but if I knew what I know now, it would only took me 2 years to do the same thing. In this video, I'm gonna talk like I would to my younger self. I even have a photo of my younger self here so that I can kind of speak to my younger self directly and basically say to him all the things I wish I've known at that time. So sit tight, bring your favorite beverage because it's probably gonna take a while. And if you like this video, check out my newsletter link down below because I share a lot of the freelancing tips and strategies and all the basically recent things that I do right now in my freelancing business. So check that out if you want more details there. First is that you need to build a rainy day fund. You need that 6 months of expenses saved up. When I was younger, I didn't care about that at all. And for me in the freelancing business, that made me say a lot of yes to the clients and projects that I should not work with. You see, if you have some kind of rainy day fund, some kind of buffer saved, like 3 to 6 months of expenses, that means you can actually say no to the clients because you're confident that you have the money to live off and find some new clients in the meantime. But if you're running out of money and you need money right now to pay for your bills, you're gonna take any project that comes your way, but that is just kind of a hamster wheel where you just keep running and keep doing all of the projects that you shouldn't do. Next is to market even if you're fully booked. The mistake that I did was don't do any sales until you actually need new clients. Basically, if I got a client, I started working with that client. Even if I have free time, I'm not looking for any more clients. I'm not doing anything. I'm just working with that client. I'm waiting for that project to end. And then I'm just starting to look for another client because then I actually need to do that. But that's just one of the worst ways to freelance. And a lot of people actually do, but you will never get anywhere if you do it like this. If you're a freelancer, you need to understand that you constantly need to market yourself. You constantly need to have leads coming in. You constantly need to be talking to people. You constantly need to be networking. This is a mandatory thing because whenever a project ends, you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have anything else ready to go. Next thing is that you need to protect your calendar. That's the thing that I didn't do at all. When you're a freelancer, you don't kind of have a boss per se. And usually, at least in my case, I was working with Americans, which are on a completely different time zone. I was working with Europeans. I even had some Australians. So I was working with people all around the world, and the time zones and the time things, and also not having a boss, which means I can, wake up at 11 a.m. and start working during lunchtime, but that means I need to work very late. I understood that you need to have some boundaries and protections in place because with freelancing, it's very, very easy to spiral into this kind of thing where you kind of work all the time and you even start to work weekends. So you need to have some boundaries and protections in place and discipline for your calendar. Otherwise, you're just going to be kind of, again, in this hamster wheel where you're constantly just working and doing the work and you don't even have time to chill out because you either have meetings or you need to now find clients or some projects got canceled. So this is a very, very important part to be very disciplined at this. In the beginning, what I didn't do is invest in relationships and not business cards. You see, when I started freelancing, I didn't really care about people I work with. So I wasn't really, making small talk. I wasn't really invested in them. I was purely seeing them as, okay, this is a project that is going to give me money. And that is basically it. That is one of the worst ways to freelance because, again, you attract very wrong crowd with this kind of approach. It's usually the red flag clients that you don't want to work with. And second of all, this is not how freelancing success is made. Like, repeat clients and referrals are some of the best ways to freelance. repeated clients that you work with for years because you've built a relationship, and then on top of that, people start referring you because they like working with you, this is way better than any cold pitch could ever be. Early on, it's very difficult to fire red flag clients early. And I understand that. When you're starting to freelance, you see some red flags in a client, but you still want that project. So you kind of still go ahead thinking maybe it's a one-time thing, maybe it's okay, maybe it's gonna be fine, but it's never fine. It basically turns into a hell project where you either spend a lot of time, energy, or both time and energy, and then you might not even get paid because the client is refusing to pay because the expectations that they had and that you had were totally different. So I understood that if I see a red flag early and if they ignore boundaries early on, it's a sign that it's not going to change. Like, just understand that clients are not going to change. If you see warnings early on, then that means it's a very bad product. It's a very bad client. It's better just to stop working with them. I know in the beginning it might be very difficult because you need the money, but that is what is the rainy day fund is for. That is what the buffer is for. That is why you need to have a constant flow of clients and leads so that you are able to say no whenever you talk to a client and you see those warning signs. A lot of freelancers that I know or have talked to or have known in my whole career, they all think that freelancing is a very short-term thing. For some reason, a lot of people just chase freelancing as some extra side hustle, extra side gig, which is okay. It can be, if you're like already employed, freelancing can be just another side thing that you do to earn extra money. That's totally fine. However, if you're thinking about freelancing as a full-time thing, you need to invest into this as a long game. Reputation compounds a lot. At first, it took me 9 years to reach my first $100,000, 100,000 euros per year, but decades pass way faster than you think, and the habits that you build compound a lot. So if you think that what you're doing right now is not working, but you're doing the right things, believe me, it's just a matter of time. It takes time to get out of this, beginner stage. That is the most difficult part, but everything compounds. Next thing is that you need to niche down sooner. When I started, I was kind of a generalist. I was just an SEO guy with basically serving everyone. Whoever has a website, I'm your guy. No, specialists gets referred more often. They're negotiated from a position of strength. Niching down also opens you to be a very specific specialist within that area. So whatever that you do, don't be just a developer, just a graphic designer, just a copywriter. You need to be a copywriter for a specific type of client. You need to be a developer for a specific type of projects. You need to be an SEO specialist with specific results in a specific area. Those kind of things will allow you to know your clients better, target better, and then compile a case studies or portfolio in that specific niche, which will allow you to win clients way more easily because you're very, very specialized. This next point, I'm kind of glad that I moved away from quite quickly, but you need to set your rates based on the value and not time. Meaning that don't do hourly rate. Hourly rate is just the worst kind of rate that you can do. It basically tethers your income to the time, and it makes clients view you as somebody that does X hours instead of delivers X results. You need to understand that you're delivering results to clients, not the hours. If clients start to view you as a freelancer that charges hourly, they'll just start counting the hours that you spend on a specific thing. It's the worst kind of thing that you can do. So you need to start doing fixed prices, packaging, and you need to start selling outcomes and results rather than your time. I'm glad that I moved away from this quite early, but I see a lot of people still, it's very easy to charge hourly pricing because, $30 per hour sounds a lot better than $1,000 for a week's worth of project. So I understand why people do that, but it's just the worst way to connect yourself to the hours, because then client also views you as an employee, basically, because employers are actually paid per hour. It's just they're paid fixed amount of hours per month, and that's what is their monthly salary. So that's why employees, they cannot just do the job in 2 hours and go home. They have to be in the office for all of that period and do something because they're paid for the hours that they're there. Freelancing, on the other hand, that is the best part. You can detach yourself from hours. You can do the same work in 2 hours and charge $1,000 instead of charging $30 per hour. Now, this next one I'm guilty of. It's write everything down. So you need clear contract scopes, payment terms. That will prevent you 90% of headaches. You have no idea how many of clients that I work with, because of our misaligned expectations in terms of contract, scope of work, even payments, when and how, there is so much headache and admin involved in all of this that it's better to have everything written down. Whenever you start work, just write down, and you don't need to be fancy. Just grab a Google Doc, write down some basic bullet points of, hey, this is what I'm going to deliver. This is the deadlines. This is the work of scope. This is the payment terms. You don't need contracts that have 10 pages that outline every single possible scenario. As long as you have something in writing, which both parties agree, that means you and the client agrees on, better to have some kind of a signature or at least an email that they respond to saying, yes, I agree, or something like that. That's all it takes, because now if something comes up later on, you can always reference back that same contract. And again, with ChatGPT these days, it's just so easy to draft these things that already have all of the things figured out, and it's just a no-brainer to do. When you're a freelancer, you need to understand that you are a bit of at risk, because there are people that don't pay you for your work. I rarely had this experience, but I know a lot of other freelancers or a lot of clients that I saw kind of red flags where they just they might not be able to pay you, or even if they pay you, they are delaying that payment for as long as possible, and the work that you did in January, you're being paid in March or April. So cash flow is a very important thing for a freelancer. So what you do is, I suggest never start work without accepting any payments, unless it's a specific type of retainer, where you work on a monthly basis for a long time with the client, then yes, that's possible. But even then, I always ask, especially if you're not sure about the client, especially if you're feeling some red flags or warning signs, always ask for 50% upfront, or even more. Usually 50% is kind of a good deal, but let's say it's $1,000 for a project, or even $1,000 per month as a retainer. For the first month, you say, hey, let's divide that payment in two, $500 right now, and that $500 after a month, and then we'll do $1,000 each month. So this just protects you a lot better, and it allows you to have actually money flowing in whenever you start a project, especially if that project takes a while to do. The longer projects than 1 month, you have to ask for 50% upfront, because if you're working for 2 months and then afterwards you're not getting paid, or there is some situation where there is this disagreement or something like that, it's way better to protect yourself and just have that deposit already cleared. When you're a freelancer, what you provide is always the latest and greatest. It's not like you learn how to do logos and then you do the exact same logo for the 10 years coming. You can do that in a job when you're employed, because there are some areas of the job where you basically can just do the bare minimum and get your monthly salary, and that's basically it. When freelancing, there is a lot of competition. And if you do the same things and you don't improve your skills, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to undercut you. And skills do depreciate. In this fast-moving environment, you need to carve out and schedule time for learning and improving your skills. I've dedicated a lot of time to actually improving my SEO skills so that I can deliver better and better results for my clients. This is necessary. So whatever you do, do not think that you've learned it once and that's it, and now you can just do the delivery. You need to keep updating your skills because there's going to be a lot more freelancers that do that for you. And then eventually one day you'll see that you know a lot less than any other freelancer, thus you cannot deliver the same results that others can. Now, this is an interesting one. It's track every project metric. You see, it was when you're a freelancer, it's very you have like 3, 4, 5 different clients, different projects, different tasks, different admin stuff, and sometimes you can get lost into all of it and you don't even know how much you're being paid for different kind of things. There was a time where until I calculated, I actually saw that in my head I was charging a client $1,000 per project, but then I calculated that I was spending so much time and headache, and I didn't even know that I was doing that my hourly rate was like $5 per hour, which is just crazy. But in my mind, I was charging a fixed fee. How is that possible to have such a low hourly price? It's because you can lose yourself with all of the different projects and tasks and clients when you're freelancing. When you're employed with somebody, you only have one employer, few KPIs, one specific job, and that's it. With freelancing, you have many different things going on. So you need to know how long tasks really take, what they cost, what is profitable for you, for the client. You need to understand and dissect your freelancing as it was a business. Okay, so how much am I spending for this client and that client? Is there a cost associated that I'm spending with each client? What are those? You need to start tracking metrics. And I started doing that not in the beginning, actually quite a few years after. I even downloaded the software where I track my hours because I wanted to see, hey, how many hours I'm actually spending for each client or each project and task. And that gave me an insane insight into how I'm operating and which type of clients I'm actually spending the least amount of time, but I'm actually getting paid the most. So I was like, this is no brainer. I just need to work with these types of clients. It's just the tracking every metric will give you a better understanding how to optimize your freelancing process. When you're freelancing, you have a lot of admin, a lot of different things that people don't really think about that you need to do. From like cold emails that you need to send clients, to update emails, to responses, to tools that you're using, to taxes, to just it's a bunch of different things that actually stack up and add up quite a bit on your time. So what you need to do as a freelancer, especially if you've been freelancing for at least a couple of years, you now know the things that you're doing. You need to automate the boring bits. So have as many templates as possible. That can be either the updates for your clients, that can be the presentations, that can be the email templates. You have like responses ready for the most frequently asked questions that, for example, people or clients ask you, or people like potential clients coming to you are asking you. You need to have the specific tools to basically free your brain space. So use Notion, use Google Docs, use Google Drive, use folders. There's a lot of systematization and organization that you need to do so that you can have everything as running as smoothly as possible, because you want to spend your most amount of time either delivering the work to your clients and finding new clients. Although delivering the work as the time goes on, you also want to be less involved in that, but that's kind of a video for another day. But for now, delivery of the work, number one. Number two is finding new clients. If you're spending your time not on these two things, then you need to automate as much as possible, and you need to delegate as much as possible. And again, don't forget to use tools like snoozing emails, scheduling emails, setting reminders. All of this stuff just frees your brain space for which you can do to either deliver work on that or then use to find new clients. Now, this one might sound like, if you are just, beginning to freelance, this might sound as not important at all, but you need to mind your health as fiercely as your investing portfolio. you need to really make sure that your brain and how you're feeling, meaning your sleep, your physical activity, everything is in its best condition as possible. First of all, it's very easy to burn out as a freelancer. It can erase all of your progress. Second, if you're a freelancer and you get sick, well, there is no sick benefits, pay, or anything. Like if you can't deliver or work with clients, you get zero income. So if you're sick for like 2 or 3 weeks, then that month you're not gonna get paid, basically. So your health is one of the most important things because you are the only one running this show. If you have a burnout, or if you have some mental issues, or if you have some physical issues, or if you're just getting sick, then you're not going to be able to find new clients and you're not going to be able to deliver the work. So everything is going to suffer, and all of the progress and all of the momentum that you're keeping is going to get lost very soon. I was at several points of really kind of almost burning out, where I know I actually stopped working with several clients or several projects because I knew that this is not the way to go. They're taking too much energy, too much space out of my day, and I'm not able to focus on other things, as well as it's really hurting my overall health. So health, just going to the gym, being physical, walking, being outside, because you're a freelancer, you're always working on your laptop. You need to make sure you mind your health. And I mean, I know it might sound crazy if you're just getting started. I'm talking about health rather than talking about some specific cold outreach templates that you can use to get more clients, because that's all what you care about right now. But believe me, in this game, it's important that you persevere over the years, because you're playing the long game. You need to be able and be healthy 5, 6, 10 years after you're doing this. So if you're thinking about the long term, you need to start managing your health right now. Check out my newsletter, the link down below. This is where I share all of my freelancing strategies, everything that I do to this day, how I get clients, networking. There's a lot more information and details there, so check it out there. And for now, YouTube thinks this video is the next one that you should watch. I mean, YouTube is very good at knowing what you need to watch, so I'll see you in that video.